All right, welcome to this week's Fast 5 most talked about topics this week about electric EVs and Tesla. It's not always fast, but there are always 5. So here's what we're going to talk about today. There's some quick mentions in the beginning, some giveaway stuff, as well as the current software updates that we are on. And then we're going to get into 5 different topics, and here's what those topics are. What are other EV companies doing now that Tesla has dropped their prices? We're going to watch a video of a Model S that goes swimming, which is super entertaining. There's some new progress on Project Highland, and a small update on that Model Y that went off the cliff, followed up with, is it even safe anymore to charge at Electrify America charging stations? Okay, so first up, let's talk about the giveaways. So the giveaway this week is a follow-up on the video that I made a couple weeks back talking about the different apps for the Apple Watch that can now be used as a Tesla key for your Tesla. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put it down below in the description. During that video, I gave away a bunch of codes for the Watchla app, but the maker of the Stats app reached out to me after watching the video, and he would like to give away 2 different annual memberships, 1-year memberships, free of charge to 2 of you guys. And so I'll put the information for how to throw your name in the mix for that drawing down below in the description. And in the meantime, here's just a little bit about that Stats app if you're not familiar with it. This is one of the most information-packed apps available today and consistently getting better. On the first tab, you get some basic information such as battery and range. On the second tab, you get a ton of information on your cost of charging, driving efficiency, miles driven, battery health, and phantom drain. The third tab stacks you up against other Tesla drivers to see where you stand with driving efficiency, phantom drain, and software updates. The fourth tab is packed with all the controls you could possibly want for your car, as well as location information, and there's just so much more. So once again, I'll put the information for how to qualify to get access to this app down below in the description, as well as other information down there. But it's going to involve you going over to Twitter and DMing me that you would like to be one of these winners. Now let's take a look at the current software updates going out for both full self-drive and non-full self-drive vehicles this week. And again, this information is coming from the Stats app. Full Self-Drive did not release any new updates in the last 7 days. Most recent one is the 2022.44.30.10. And in the last week, it went from 25.6% of users that were using this new update to now 38.2% of users now have this update. So there's an even amount of people that have this new one versus the old one. On the non-Full Self-Drive, we see a new update that is beginning to roll out called the 2023.2.10. Most people are still on the 2022.44.25.3. I did release a video this last week on the 2023.2.0.5. So the 2.10 is probably just a few bug fixes, probably not a bunch of new stuff on that one. But the 2.0.5, what they did is they brought pulsing headlights to Sentry mode, which is super cool. I absolutely love that feature. So you're not quickly flashing in a very aggressive way people as they walk by, as well as your heated steering wheel is now tied to the climate control inside of your car if you have a vehicle that has a heated steering wheel. Again, I did a full video on all of this. It'll be down below in the description. So let's move on to our top 5 topics this week. Now, as you know, Tesla massively cut prices, in some cases up to 20% a couple of weeks back. And the main reason for most companies when they do something like this is to inspire more people to come into the marketplace, to get the company making more sales, bring more momentum into the company, which of course makes sense. But what has this done to other competitors? Well, today we're specifically looking at Ford. Ford has announced that they'll be reducing their price for their 2023 Mustang Mach-E by up to $5,900. According to the Blue Oval, the Mustang Mach-E was the 3rd most popular EV car in the United States in 2022. As far as EV sales, they were number 2 last year, followed right behind Tesla. Ford's Mach-E Chief Customer Service Officer said, "We are not going to cede ground to anyone. We are producing more EVs to reduce customers' wait times, offering competitive pricing, and working to create an ownership experience that is second to none. Our customers are the center of everything we do as we continue to build thrilling and exciting vehicles. We will continue to push the boundaries to make EVs more acceptable for everyone." So the Mustang Mach-E Select all-wheel drive standard range received the smallest reduction, down $600, with the California Route 1 and GT extended range seeing the largest reduction of $5,900. So even if Ford didn't come out directly and say this, this is definitely some sort of a response to Tesla's $13,000 reduction on their Model Y. And it looks like Ford is making this move to not lose any more of their market share. But other EV makers aren't showing much of a reduction in their prices, and some other EV makers, such as a Chevy Bolt, actually increased their price in January after dropping it last year. So it's not really surprising to see other EV makers making different changes to their prices. So if you're in the market to buy a Mustang Mach-E and not a Model Y, this may be good news for you. So the question is, were the people that bought the Mach-E 2022 or December Mach-E buyers, are they going to experience that anger, that frustration at Ford that Tesla fans experienced when Tesla dropped their prices significantly, literally overnight? Are they going to get that hatred, that anger that happened, with Tesla? And the answer is, of course. Many times you buy something and it goes down the next day, you're going to get that frustration. Okay, now this next one, we're going to actually watch a Model S go for a swim here. And I found this really interesting and I brought it in because it just is a bit of a testament to the power of motors. I mean, you get so many people that think, including myself, you can't take an electric car into water. Well, this sort of proves that wrong, at least with the Model S. And so let's watch this video and we'll kind of talk through it a little bit. And yes, I will yap my face off, but I'll also link it down below in case you want to watch it just raw without any kind of commentary. So let's get this video going here. And so the biggest thing here is that you can see that they did seal off the cabin the best they could. You do see some leaks in the back seat in a little bit. You also can tell they put weights inside of the car all beside him. There's a bunch of like curling weights sitting next to him there. And obviously the car is very stripped down. It's clearly been built for racing. But the video was done in response to a troll on Facebook, apparently. To be honest, I think they just wanted to experiment to see what would happen. I mean, this is a pretty big overreaction to just a troll otherwise. But I mean, don't get me wrong, trolling is very annoying and it does suck, but this is pretty freaking cool. I mean, look at that thing. He is like, that's going over the windshield. I mean, he's having a good time in there. I mean, it's a warm day. I mean, who wouldn't want to be out in the middle of a Tesla, swimming in the lake? I'd love to be in there.
Doesn't like it. You know what I'm saying?
They're coming out. And so obviously we don't know the whole story here. We don't know if this really is all that they did was just tape off, the inner part of the car, try to seal it, and then just drive through it. But that's the assumption here, and that's the message they're definitely trying to get across. So, let me know your thoughts on that. Do you think that there was more sealing done, or do you think that is purely just a Model S driving into water with a little sealing off to protect the driver? Next up, Project Highland is making a little bit of progress, and if you're unfamiliar with what Project Highland is, it is the idea, this project that Tesla is working on to give the Model 3 what we're thinking is a Model 3 a facelift. It could be something else, but we're thinking it's the Model 3. So last week we talked about how there was more camouflage Model 3s being spotted around California. Inside EV said that Tesla Model 3 is arguably due for an upgrade, and it seems Tesla has been working on it for some time now. At this point, somewhere about 6 months. The Model C was the top selling car in the United States for quite a while, but has been passed up by the Model Y, as you know. Now, I have both of these cars, and there is certainly a lot to love about both of them. It's suspected that the Model 3 is being stripped down to lower the price even more by simplifying the interior and upgrading the cabin technology. Although with the recent price cuts we've seen on the Model 3, I can't imagine it'll be all that much cheaper. What we know is that Elon said on the recent Q4 earnings call that new products are coming, and we know that the Semi has arrived. We know that the Cybertruck is, due to come out any day now. We know that the Roadster is on its way, maybe sooner than expected, which means that it's either the Model 3 getting some kind of a facelift of some sort, or that there's some entirely different product, like maybe a hatchback of sorts or something. What we do know is that due to recent filings that Tesla has completed tearing down their old lines, that their manufacturing lines, and have started the installation of the revamped manufacturing lines, so whatever that means. Like I said last week, we're really expecting to learn a lot on Investor Day here planned for March 1st, so I guess we'll all see. Now on to number 4. If you've been following along with that Model Y that went off a cliff in California about a month ago, there was 2 adults and 2 children in the car. The driver of that car has just been moved to jail, and he's been put there over the suspicion of murder and child abuse. Now, if you're new to the story, a man, his wife, and 2 kids shot off a cliff. The cliff was called Devil's Slide, a very popular place in California for looking at the view and the scenery. But the car plunged down about 200 feet down this cliff. Now, no one died. The kids had some minor to serious injuries. The parents had a little bit more severe injuries. Everyone was taken to the hospital, but everyone survived. Rescuers have called this a miracle for a couple reasons. One, others who have gone off the cliff were not so lucky. And the second thing is that they went off the cliff right at low tide, where a lot of times right there is high tide and that car would have been submerged, but at the time they went off the cliff, it wasn't. And the suspicion is that the driver intentionally drove off the cliff, but what they're unsure of is exactly why. So like others, I was just very happy and impressed, and no one was hurt in this accident. It's a great testament to the safety features inside of the Model Y, maybe, or it was just pure luck whatever. I'm just glad no one was hurt. But the reason I bring this up is because, of course, they have to investigate to see if autopilot was the main reason for this. And that as a part of the investigation now was if it was the car's fault. As we keep hearing, and as we all know who own a Tesla, it's never the car's fault. It's always the driver's. There's nothing the car can do that the driver does not approve of or that they cannot control. All right, last on the list, should you stay away from Electrify America chargers? Now, Electrify America is a massive charging network. Obviously, Tesla owners use the supercharging network, but outside of the supercharging network, if you have a CCS adapter, you can go across America and use these Electrify America chargers. However, there's a tweet from a guy named Anson, and here's what he said. He basically pulled up to Electrify America charger in his Rivian. He plugged in his Rivian. Then he heard a loud bang noise. The car got a bunch of code errors all of a sudden. He couldn't unplug his car. He had to wait 7 hours for a service tech to show up. And apparently now his car is fried. His Rivian is fried. So he's wondering what comes next. A new car replacement? What's the deal? However, Electrify America did give him credits to get home because he was 2 hours from home. So, I guess there's that. Now, according to Teslarati, this wasn't the first time that this actually happened. Back in November, Eric Rowe tweeted that his Ford Lightning truck was fried at an Electrify America charger. This time, the charger caused one of the main battery modules to fail and has been at Ford for almost a month, and the service techs are actually telling him he should contact Ford and see if they'll just buy the truck back. Now, others have commented on his post saying this exact same thing happened to them in their Chevy Bolt. So last week, we talked about the CCS adapters you can buy from Tesla, and you can buy them from other places like Hanchow, and you can use them across the country. But I guess take this as a little bit of warning that if you're going to one of these Electrify America sites, that there might be something going on there you should be aware about. At least go in knowing. Now, obviously, thousands of people charge at Electrify America stations every single day, and they're fine. So, I'm not trying to blow the whistle or be all kinds of crazy about this here, but it's just something to be aware of that this happens. These are 3 events that have happened in the last month or 2. Who knows how many more are actually out there. Okay, so that's the fast, not so fast 5 of the last week. So I'm going to leave you guys with one question. I want you to comment down below in the pinned question I'm going to put down there. And here's the question of the week that I want you guys to respond to. I've received tons of tweets, lots and lots of comments, and seen a lot of other people commenting in other places that in the last builds on the full self-drive and non-full self-drive that they're seeing an incredible increase in phantom braking in their cars. I personally have not experienced this, but have you experienced it? Comment it down below in my pinned comment. Just hit reply, type yes, no, whatever you want to say down there. I'm curious what your experiences are with that. In the full self-drive or non-full self-drive, are you seeing an increase in the latest builds of phantom braking where your car stops abruptly, or slows down abruptly about 5 miles per hour? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you all next week.